Well, good evening, beautiful people, and welcome to another segment of Success in Motion, where we discuss topics that will inspire, empower, and promote to catapult you to the next level in your life. You guys, I am so excited. Happy Wednesday to you. It is Wednesday, August 12th, 2020, and I am so excited that I'm seeing those of you who have joined the conference call on today virtually. I'm so excited to see your faces, and I believe that you're excited to see my face too. I'm just going to put it on out there. You know, the smiles, the joy, the laughter. And before we get started, you guys, we just want to get a little hype, and just come on with me just for a little bit, okay? We're walking in the victory. We are triumphant, okay? So let's go. Yes. 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 Woo! Hey, we're victorious, y'all. Hey, that's what success in motion is all about. Hey, nothing can conquer you as long as you put your mind to what it is that you are wanting to achieve and accomplish in your life. Hey. Woo! Hey, we are victorious. In the middle of the battlefield, when things don't seem to be going right, y'all, you gotta have victory on your mind. Never gonna stop, never gonna yield. You cannot yield to what the enemy sends to you, okay? Because you're more than a conqueror every time. Hey! Yes! You are victorious. I am victorious. Nothing can conquer us. We are victorious. All right, y'all. All right. We are victorious, you all, okay? We are all truly success in motion. We are triumphant. We are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, okay? So today's show, we're talking about being victorious. We're talking about, the set goals that we have, the prayers that we have prayed and put out there into the atmosphere that we have been in great expectation waiting for, and those things that we have already received, okay? And we're talking about it in a sense of relationship, okay? In relationship with our children, in relationship with our parents, our siblings, and our husbands, our wives, at work, our co-workers or administrators, those at the grocery store, wherever you are, just the relationships and the positivity of it, the optimism of it. Even when things don't seem to be going right, even when there seems to be conflict and strife and division, how do you overcome? Hey, to be victorious so that you are success in motion? Because listen, what is success? Success is being determined and putting your mind to what it is that you want to achieve and actually doing it. You are success. And what is motion? There is motion when you're moving. Your mind is going, it's turning those wheels, and it's not being in a hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying? It's actually you moving forward. You taking action. Oh my goodness. You taking action in those things that you desire to have and desire to see come to pass in your life. So welcome to Success in Motion. And you are definitely victorious and triumphant. And I just want I want you all to give a huge welcome to my co-host, my guest, my boy, my partner, my friend, my homie. No. Mr. Robert Gaines III. Woo!
What's happening, beautiful people? I am so excited to be here with y'all today.
Yes.
Of course, Nicole, the check is in the mail because You are definitely all that. You my girl, you my homie, my partner, my friend. And we do this how we do this.
We do it how we do it.
The energy and the positivity, it can't be matched when it's real, y'all.
Come on.
Like the truth of the matter is, you're talking about success in motion and success in relationships. It's built because the true, honest give and take isn't always equal or even. You know, that's the biggest part about this. I might need $5 just to get through the day, but then I can turn around when Nicole needed and give her that, $500 to start that third business, because that's all she needed. But that's not an equal and fair trade. She about to live a lifetime off that $500 that I'm giving or $5,000 that I'm giving.
That's right.
I just got through that day. But the fair trade is that I'm excited because she is successful. I'm excited because I was able to be a help. Not that I get to run around and brag about it, but because that's my friend.
Yeah.
And your closest friends don't run around like, oh, that's my boy. Oh, that's my girl. Oh, I know they got all this. They got that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they got this in the house. They got that in the house. Because as soon as you start talking about what's in the house, you also start talking about the problems that you're aware of. The best part about successful, uplifting, and building relationships is keeping everything on the positive, even when the negatives are there. Because real friendships get excited just like Nicole did when she came on. Because you can't buy that excitement. That comes from within. That's a whole nother joy. And anytime you got that kind of joy, success is absolutely in motion.
Yes. Woo! Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. And we're staying in that vein. You all, Robert Gaines III is the host of Past, Present, and Possibilities. And I'm just going to let y'all know, listen, on Tuesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. on freeconferencecall.com, online meeting ID is Coach Gaines 3. Listen, you definitely want to be on his show. It is phenomenal. It's literally like a success in motion. So the information is great, is bountiful. There's abundance of wisdom and knowledge and understanding for each and every one of us to attain. It literally will definitely catapult you to the next level in your life. I know I mentioned this before, his mind is different. I would like to think that, I mentioned this before, how, I like it when I can feel the anointing on the left side of my head, because I'm like, oh, that's when I know it ain't my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But when Robert speaks, his perspective, it's like the left and the right brain is going at the same time, and it's just like on a whole nother plateau, and it's like, you better catch it. Anyway.
Thank you so much.
But yes, but you're welcome. So we are staying in the vein of successful, optimistic, positive relationships. And when I think about positive relationships, even Robert, like you just mentioned, those who are upbeat, positive, it's genuine. Some people, they bring the doom and gloom all the time, or it's, woe is me all the time. But sometimes, we just have to get on up in there and break all that down. You know what I'm saying? And begin to take control and take advantage of the power that we possess, and begin to speak those things into those situations to help break down what the enemy has set up. Some people like to wallow in their mess. Some people like to murmur and they like to complain. And don't get me wrong, we all get into a situation where, it's like, dang, you just kind of get low. You become discouraged, But when you have someone or people in your life, or someone that you can go and talk to, someone who, you may need someone who's going to just listen, But then there are times where you need someone who's going to lift you up. They're going to help to pull you out of that funk mode, pull you out of that miry dirt and that filth that you're in, that discouragement place. And it lifts you up. So Robert, I want you to share with us your experience. I want you to share with us two experiences. I want you to share with us an experience where you have been down in a funk, like, what the heck, WTHECK, I don't know how I'm going to make it, I don't know what's going on, and someone came to you and they encouraged you and they helped to inspire and uplift you and pull you out. And then I also want you to share of a situation where you, in turn, did that for them.
I'll be happy to. Thank you. It's funny because I'm quite sure for most folks, these are hard things to recall. You always remember when somebody helps you out, and you sometimes forget what it is that they helped you with. You just know that it was such a great help, and you just look forward to being around that person again because you don't know what it was that they did, but they did it. As we talk about relationships, and as I talk about this, understand that every relationship is based upon you. Because what you know about yourself, or what you're willing to know and accept about yourself, including the things that you need to push away from yourself that has been a part of your life at some point in time, all determines on how your relationships, friendships, family relationships, and everything else work together. There was a point in time in my life where the description of me was a 400-pound shattered soul. Not just a shattered man, not broken, because I still took time to uplift everybody else in my hurt and my pain, in me not knowing exactly who or what I was. The only thing that I realized was that I was God's child and He would have to lift me out of this somehow. Who He was going to use to lift me, I didn't know. How He was going to lift me, I didn't know. But God sent to me unexpected people, people that I was not looking for, to become friends with, genuine friendships, not none of the funny business, just strictly friends. And each individual touched me in such a way that reminded me that I'm a strong man, that I am a bold man, that I'm actually quite nerdy when you get to talk to me and know me. You know, to remind me that I can be funny and have a sense of humor, that it's okay to smile because I have a great smile. And these are not words that I'm saying to you because I believe them. These are words that were reminded to me because they saw it in me, even in my brokenness. And mind you, I told you I wasn't broken, but I was shattered. And the difference is when you're broken, parts are over here and over there and parts are everywhere. Shattered is when that windshield is all still together because of that little fine piece of nylon in the middle, and you got little dustlets falling off of it, but it's still holding together. Now, we know that you can't repair a shattered window. You may as well take it all out and sweep up the dust that left behind, little shards of glass, whatever. But when you're dealing with a broken, shattered soul, there's a difference in how it can be mended. It can be swept over, or it can be kissed and blown on by God. And when God blows on your soul, and He sends people to do the work that He is doing in you from outside as well, people to remind you of how beautiful you are, how fearfully and wonderfully made you are, how there's an armor that you need to put back on to stay protected from all that is coming at you. I can't point out one particular person because it required about 4 or 5 people to do this. Mind you, I am talking about a 400-pound shattered soul. Not a broken man, not somebody that's over here and over there and everywhere else just lost and wild. Somebody who is still very well kept together but almost turtled into a shell. because coming out of that shell, even to function normally, something might become broken because it was so much shattered pieces. And them taking the time to help me to heal, God also used me to work in them so that they can heal various parts of themselves. And I remember the first occurrence before my soul was shattered. The uplift and building in just a basic conversation about life. Somebody I never knew. We sat down, had about a 3-hour conversation. And we were both at a common location for a common event. And we just had the whole evening together. And we just sat down and talked to get to know each other. You know, because you sit there and say, how do you sit down and have a 3-hour conversation with somebody that you don't know? So, yes, we were in a common space. And, you know, we literally sat down at the hotel restaurant and we talked. And she didn't know me and I didn't know her. Nothing happened except for the growth of a friendship. And it was in that moment that I realized I'm so much better than what I have been giving. And I needed to give more of the better self than the mundane compromised, because I've given so much away to make things work self. And it took about 3 months for this person to reach back out to me. They live somewhere else and I live here in Michigan. And she answered my phone call one day and said, you know, it's been a while since we've talked, but I'm happy that you called. It's the perfect day. You gave me the strength to do something that I didn't find the encouragement to do in the last 5 years that I should have done. And when she told me what it was, though I'm not saying who it is, I'm not going to say what I encouraged her to do. I didn't know how to take it. I was like, hold on, that's not okay. I didn't mean to encourage that. But there was a broken part of her that she needed to detach from, that she was still attached to. And our conversation literally in lifting each other back to our feet so that we could march forward in the victory of a great friendship, of laughter, genuine love, not you about to be my girl type love, but a genuine love of you're my sister, you're my cousin, you my people type of love. And that success to this day still excites me. We still share pictures back and forth of the great accomplishments that we're having in our lives. And we don't talk as much as we once did, and that's okay. Because the reason for her to be in my life in that season was to lift me up and put me on my feet so that I can stand. Because apparently I didn't realize that I have fallen down already. I love the energy of just simply good people. When you are around good people, they get to know who you are. But it's difficult for them to know who you are if you don't know who you are. So I will tell you to know thyself first, because that is what will allow others to help you to encourage yourself and others that are not those that have encouraged you. Because it's a matter of paying it forward or giving to those who are less fortunate in the moment. Regardless to their financial success or lack thereof, there's nothing better than the rich heart and soul of any one man or woman.
That's good. That is so good. I like how you, you were being encouraged by a plethora of people, and then how you were able to turn it around I think that a lot of times we don't pay attention to that, because, we get so caught up in our own things that are going on, our personal lives, whatever the case may be. But what I've learned personally is, if I get into a situation where I'm feeling discouraged, a little down and unmotivated and things of that nature, then I need to start looking for someone that I can bless, someone that I can encourage. And for the most part, it seems to happen that way. Even if I'm not looking for it, it just seems to come, And like, I don't always go to seek encouragement that I may need, but someone will call me and they'll be like, "Hey, Nicole, whatever." And they'll be like, "What's going on?" And I'd be like, "Dang, do I really want to share what's going on?" And I try to make sure that I'm checking everything within me. I'm checking my emotions, so I'm not wearing them on my sleeve. I'm not getting into the whine mode, being all whiny and, and everything, but to be able to address the situation. And then if that person was sent to me to help, then to be able to receive the information that they're going to share with me, And again, when, for those of you who know me, those of you who do not, I believe I'm a very positive and upbeat person, like all the time. Even if there's something going on with me, if I come in contact with someone else, they would never know unless they could just pick it up in the spirit. They would discerning something, But for the most part, I'm like on 100. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing today? What's talk to me, And I believe that even when we do that, then that changes our countenance. It changes it uplifts our spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it brings us out. It's like something that you can. Okay, so you're by yourself. You're at home. You're just chilling. And you're like, okay, well, dang, what am I gonna do? Or you got all these thoughts running through your mind, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, hey, okay, and you can muster up the energy, but yet when it comes out, it's so genuine and pure because it's who you are, So, people, they always say, "Oh, well, you got to fake it till you make it." Well, I mean, if it's already a part of you, you're not faking it. It may take you a minute to rev it up a little bit, but when it comes out, it's just coming out, and it is what it is, So being able to be in position to where we can help others, even when we think about, our coworkers, when they are down and out, if they're experiencing something like on the job with their boss or another coworker or something like that, and you're watching them and they're just like, dang, this is so, tough, or they're angry because something was said to them that was not right. And, when you're at work, you're trying to keep your composure because you can't just lash out. You know, you I think it takes a lot of restraint, especially when you're in the workplace or even out in public. It takes so much restraint because then you got to think about the consequences. Okay, well, if I cuss this person out, if I go up to him and I mean, or you may want to go and just pop them in their mouth and be like, shut up. Or I'm just being real. I'm just being honest, But you can't do that. We cannot do those things. And so, we have to come at people with a different perspective, a different mindset to be able to change that situation around to make it work for your own good. The Bible says that what Satan means for evil, that God will turn it around for your good. So even when people come at you all sideways and crazy, it's like, okay, well, what can you do that's going to turn it around? And earlier this year, and I'm putting it out there, I had a situation and I shared something with a couple of people based on how I was feeling. And it caused them to go into straight negative mode. And I kind of knew that that was going to happen. But when it started happening, I started feeling the darts that were being thrown out. And I felt so bad. And I said, oh, Lord, please have mercy on me and forgive me, because I should not have told them, what was going on with me. I should have just left it alone. But then I had to go and lay before God, and I had to repent. I had to ask God to forgive the people who went off, based on the situation that I shared with them. And then I had to pray to cover the person that I was angry with, so it was like all that was going on. So I realized that, we have to stay in upbeat and positive mode. People will say, oh, well, we're human and you're allowed to, to be in your feelings and your emotions and things of that nature. And I get it. I do. I really do. But you can't stay there. You can't stay there in that place of negativity and still try to be positive at the same time,
I do. And, when you're in a space of negativity, it's difficult that you're trying to figure out how to hold a peace, which impacts your positivity. The energy that you carry is everything. And you can't allow others to jump into your space. We're talking about relationships and how to keep them successful and moving. The only way you keep successful relationships moving is your expectations are always voiced, and you can't rush them for anything. And that's the hardest part about it all, is everybody always wants to rush the situation. If it's going in their favor, they're okay with it. If it's not going in their favor, then they're in a hurry to get rid of it or get out of it because it's uncomfortable. But when you have that positive energy and they're attacking you with something negative and you come back at them with something positive, all of a sudden they're in a position to where, oh my goodness, I can't believe I treated you like that. I'm so sorry. And they're apologetic and energetic about it, and they come back to do everything that they can to help you out, because the genuineness of the friendship is there, and that is one of the many things that I recognize and appreciate, is even when you and I are doing the business that we have together, and you're busy with whatever's going on in your life, or I might be busy with whatever's in my life, and we call each other and we don't answer, it's like, oh, but I need you. And all of a sudden, it's like, but I can make it. It's not, I'm dogging you. I understand that I am not the most important thing in your life. Even though in that moment, I need to be the most important thing in your life. And we have to understand that is a unspoken expectation that we then in turn create the problems of the friendships or relationships that may be in front of us. So your expectations have to be realistic at all times. And that's one of the things about the negativity, is you bring the negativity more often than not. So again, I will tell you, it is most important to know thyself.
That is so true. I agree. I know just having a conversation, I was talking to someone not too long ago, and, you mentioned, Robert, about, rushing the process. And, it seems like a lot of people, they're like, okay, well, I want what I want, when I want it, how I want it, and this, that, blah, 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 blah. And if you're not, you can be available and you can be in that space in which they're in as well, but you're taking your time. It's like doing a slow roll. For those of you, I don't know who ride bikes, but there's a group, a bike riding club called the Slow Roll, and, it's just they're taking their time, because you want to get to know people. You want to know their character, their personality, and you don't just want to dive right on in because, I mean, if you think about it, let's think about diving into a pool. You know what I'm saying? If you have not checked to see, how deep the pool is, if you dive right on into 3 feet and you're like, I don't know, what, 7 feet, 8 feet high, I mean, that's like a head explosion. I'm just saying, or your body explosion, so you want to know what you're getting into before you just dive right on in, and you want to take your time. And I think, even with relationships, whether, I mean, and this is any relationship, except for, your children, your parents, your family, things of that nature. You don't have to go slow with them because for the most part, those family members that are your immediate family members, your first cousins, your first aunt, uncle, whatever, I mean, you grew up with them for the most part, for those of you who have, so you know them. But for other people, it's like, putting on the crock pot, putting some a nice juicy roast in the crock pot, and you needed to cook on low for like, I don't know, 7-8 hours, and you go in because you're so excited about how it's going to taste because it's going to be so savory, and you seasoned it so well, and you're just like, oh, it's getting brown, and it may look like it's done and ready, but then you kind of cut into it and it's still a little tough, because it still has more time to cook, and it has to cook thoroughly from the inside out, or the inside in, however. Anyway, but you want to make sure that it's just right. So this way, when it's done after that, that 8th hour, that, it's like you stick your fork in there and it's just like falling apart. You gotta, shoot, you might have to get a spoon and, get that tender roast up out of there. But you know that it's done. You know that it's right. You know that that is the opportune time for you to go forth and, obtain that which you desire to obtain. I'm just saying, anyway. So, even with, with, partnerships and businesses and things of that nature, we should not be in such a rush, to get into those business relationships, partnerships, and things of that nature, because you definitely need to know the character of a person. And I know, a few series ago, we talked about leadership. We talked about leadership styles. We talked about personality types and, what type of personality style do you have as not only a leader, but as a person, and those things are very important. We talked about being honest and having integrity and, and being positive and being truthful and being transparent and things of that nature. And, a lot of times, in relationships, we're guarded, we're guarded because of things that we've experienced in our lives. And, sometimes being guarded rubs people the wrong way. Some people say, oh, you're still so, you still got trauma, and, a person can have experienced some trauma, some extremely negative things in their life, but it doesn't always mean that if there is, I would say, precaution, that it doesn't mean that they're thinking about what happened or what they experienced. It's just that they learn from that and they know what to do and what not to do. And they just want to make sure that the relationships and the partnerships are going to be a success. I know I mentioned in regards to one of the conferences that I had last year, and I had two gentlemen. One was my client, and the other was someone that he met. And they were both extremely excited about coming aboard with me on my Success in Motion conference. And they were, just like overwhelmed with joy, like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I remember one of my clients, he mentioned to me, he said, Nicole, well, remember you said you wanted a team and, this, that, and I did, but I mean, I didn't want the team to take over, and try to cut me out of my own conference, or whatever what it was that I invited them, I allowed them to be a part of, because again, Success in Motion is about inspiring, empowering, and promoting to catapult each individual that I encounter to the next level in their life. That is something that I don't have to think about. I know that it happens with those who are connected to me. It is what it is. It's not even me. It's the gifts that God has placed on the inside of me. And I mean, it's something that is just natural to me, but I was so eager and so desiring of wanting a team and partners, and I'm like, yes, and they were so gung ho, but they went behind my back and did some things, and just really tried to cut me out of my own conference, and that was just not cool. So that was a learning experience. So now, when people want to partner, or even if I want to partner with someone, we have to get to know one another first. I need to get to know what your business about, what your organization about, what your program is all about before I just delve on in. And even on the inside of me, I can be feeling like, oh, like this is something that, I just really want to do. I just really want to do it. I just want to go forth and just go into it and just dive right on in. But I have to have some self-restraint to make sure, so I don't get burned like I did, when I had my conference. So again, I'm thankful for the experiences. I'm thankful for the individuals who have come into my life, the partnerships and everything, and just the people. I love people. I love you all like so very much. And this is not just a surface love. Like if you were to call me and tell me your deepest, darkest secret, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to hold it near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to go into prayer for you, and I say that all the time because it's true, like I care about you all, Anyway, so, we're talking about being successful, in relationships and in our lives, period. And I played the song, We Are Victorious by Donnie McClurkin and Ty Tribbett. And we have to have that mindset of victory. We have to have that mindset of being triumphant. We are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our very testimony. The things that we experience in life, they don't just happen by happenstance. We go through things it's a trying of our faith, our character, and then also once we overcome the things that we experience, then we are to go forth and we are to share how God has brought us out so that we can reach the next person, and then they can pay it forward to the next person. It's like it's a chain reaction. You know what I'm saying? It's like planting those seeds and just throwing them out there. You talk to those people that you come in contact with, and I'm gonna share this too, like, because I am a very outgoing person, so I go and I walk down at the riverfront, and, I have on my mask and everything, and, walking past people, and I'm like, hey, good morning, because I go in the morning, early in the morning, and I'm like, hey, good morning, how you doing, whatever, and some people, they are not responding, and for the most part, people are, but some people are not, and I'm like, wow, like, this is really interesting, but again, we have to be a display of God's luminous light, his brilliant, bright light at all times, again, I know that we suffer things, we suffer because Christ suffered, we experience tests and trials in our lives, but it is only to make us stronger and to be able to be an ambassador of Christ so that we can go forth and share of his amazing wonders, his awesomeness, his greatness, and just how beautiful and magnificent that he is. And with having the knowledge of that, the depth, the deepness of it, and it's just like, oh my gosh. And when you partner with like-minded people, oh my gosh, who are in tune in the spirit, oh my gosh, because we know that iron sharpens iron. And if we're walking around all the time, and we're supposed to be iron sharpening iron, but if we're walking around all the time as like a butter knife, then what are we doing? What are we doing? We need to be strong. We need to be resilient. We need to be relentless. We need to walk in the power and the authority that has been given to us, the gift of Holy Spirit. Because once Holy Spirit comes upon us, woo, we have power to go forth. Woo! And to go forth and do those things that need to be done here in the earth. Oh my goodness, hallelujah, in the lives of God's people. And we are assigned to people. There are people who are assigned to each and every one of us. And we need to make sure that we are in position. And we need to make sure that our hearts and our minds are clear so that when they come, or when we're sent to them, that we are ready, willing, and able to just go, to be, to do, to act, to speak, be activated, so that we can help to stir up the gifts that are on the inside of other people and help them to go forth again, because you're paying it forward, so that they can do what they're meant to do. And then they can go and pull somebody else up out of that dirt, that filth, that gunk, that junk, that nastiness that we've all been in, you know what I'm saying? And help to not just dust them off unless, they just kind of fail, in the dirt a little bit and it's a little dusty. But no, some people are in the trenches. Some people are in the pit, just like Joseph was in the pit. You know what I'm saying? Some people are in a pit, it's snakes in the pit. Some people are in the lion's den, and they need someone to come in and to stand with them, to fill in the gap, to intercede on their behalf. We need that, you all, and that is how you become success in motion. Okay, that is what it's all about. It's not just about being selfish. It's not about being me, 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 me. No, it is about others. I sang the song before, I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. I love you. I need you to survive. You know what I'm saying? And so with having all of that in mind, you all, just, positive reinforcement, and we also need to be speaking into the lives of other people. Really quickly, I and it took me a minute because a very old girlfriend of mine, good girlfriend of mine, we've known each other since we were in kindergarten, I believe. Anyway, but we hadn't spoken to each other in in years. And she reached out to me on Facebook. This was like several months ago or earlier this year. And she reached out to me on Facebook, and we ended up talking to each other. And it was so cool. We were catching up. But I sensed that there was something that was needed, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Or I probably kind of knew what was needed, but I don't know if I really wanted to. Anyway, but it was meant for me to pray. So we went, I allowed myself to not pray for, I would say, maybe 4 months. So we're in August right now, and I think I did not pray until June. I think it was in June. It was the beginning, the early part of June. And that was a very long time. But I'm thankful for God's grace and his mercy, and that the assignment was still mine, you know, for me to pray, to intercede on her behalf. And I would just listen to her. And, you know, sometimes I would have to hang up and get off the phone because I was just like, okay, this is a lot. But I knew that I had to intercede on her behalf. But it took her to call me with another situation regarding one of her family members. And when she called me in regards to her family member, I knew that it was meant for me to pray because I had had a dream about her and her family before she called me. And so when she said that, I was like, okay, Lord, all right, I got to pray. So I went into, you know, for those of you who know me, I go in, I travail, you know, I go in because it's not me. It's not about me. It's not for me. It is for the people that God is sending to me to intercede on their behalf because of what because of what they need from Him. And it's interesting because everyone does not know me in the spirit and how God uses me. And so when I went in and I just went in, and, you know, after the prayer was done and, you know, I felt it was time to, you know, for us to get off the phone, we hung up. But I have to tell you guys that I haven't spoken to her since because that's what was needed. That is what was needed. And so she could have gotten free months ago, but, you know, I was, you know, pussyfooting around, as they say, you know, dragging my feet because I wasn't sure. Well, I was sure. I won't even share why I didn't, but I didn't. But again, I'm just thankful that God still saw fit to allow me to be able to have that assignment and to complete it to the end and not miss out, and that soul or those souls not be grabbed up for Jesus at that time because they something could have happened that could have been worse. And I'm trying so hard to understand not to allow people to be casualties under my watch, you know? Go ahead.
You know, as you're talking about that, the thing that I'm reminded of is we are our brothers and sisters' keeper. And when somebody says, I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's keeper, what you're really genuinely saying is, I'm going to care for them as I care for myself. It doesn't mean that you put them above yourself, but there are times where you go out of your way for people, not because it's the right thing to do, but it's because it's what's needed.
That's right.
And because of what is needed, you go out of the way to make sure that they are put back on track to be successful. I was sharing earlier about the friendship and our initial conversation of 3 hours, and how it was a conversation that lifted me up and put me on my feet. It didn't exactly move me, but it changed the way that I was able to move because all of a sudden I wasn't crawling anymore. And when you know how to run, jump, and be excited, and you're an athlete of any sort, that's a legitimate athlete, you're working out every day and you hustling hard and you go and you go and you go, and then you in a race and you don't even realize that you're exhausted to the point that whatever food you have needed, typically spiritual soul food, to lift you up, you've been starving from it. Not that you haven't been getting your spiritual food from your word, not that you haven't been doing the things that you needed to, but that you didn't even realize that you're sitting here digging yourself in a hole with energy and spinning wheels, trying to compromise to keep a balance of happiness with somebody who, when you realize that you weren't even equally matched. It's not that you weren't good for each other or to each other, but you were not meant to go the whole distance together. Mm-hmm. And you ran a race with, I don't want to say extra baggage, because it's not that it was extra baggage. it was more weight than you needed to successfully run this race with all the power and strength that you have trained for. Because you trained to run with somebody, not to run with somebody. You didn't plan to have to hold them through the race. You plan to run your leg, hand the baton off, let them run their leg. You take it back and run your leg so that you all can run together and get through this race successfully. And so to be your brother or sister's keeper, to be the keeper of your friend, to be the keeper of your neighbor, to be the keeper of your child, all those relationships are very different, but very much it is important to understand how to run with somebody and not with somebody holding on, because you don't want to find yourself on all fours still running the race. Oh, I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm a champion. Oh, I can't stop. Oh, I'm encouraged. Oh, yeah, now I'm crawling faster. I'm crawling. Not realizing that you have missed the fact that you have legs that are as long as that of Flojo, and that they're just as strong as that of Michael Phelps. And when you put it together and you start running on that track, you look like Usain Bolt, and everything is just successfully in motion and going, and it's lifting you up, and the world just looks different as the wind is running through your hair. Like, oh my goodness, thank you.
Ah, yes, Lord.
That is what it looks like when you are your brother's keeper. You get put on your feet. You put them on their feet, and you help them to run without having to hold on. You can sometimes hold on so that they can get their breath, so that they can continue to put forward that fire and that energy. Because that is how we started today, was uplifted and so strong. But relationship conversations are so heavy. Because we don't deal with ourselves in relationships enough. I cannot express to you the greatest importance of knowing thyself. Because when you know thyself, when you know the hurts, the pains, the ups, the downs, the strengths, the weaknesses, the ins, the outs, the goods, the bads, all of a sudden you can fix the small parts within you, and you take time to find those issues in other people and try to walk with them through their situation.
That's right.
That is how we lift and keep our brothers and sisters. That is how you don't become a parent and say, well, I don't know how to be a parent. Well, guess what? Your parents showed you one of two ways on how to be a parent. They showed you either everything not to do or everything to do. And there are a few parents who are in between. They showed you some things not to do and a whole lot to do, but they're your parents, and what you learned as a child, you realize what you needed for your child and why you needed the corrections or lack thereof, and what needed to have happen for you in certain situations. You know, I was just sharing with somebody, there's a post on Facebook, and it caused me to pause for a moment, because when I read it, it hit me. There are people who are holding on to things in their lives that will never be spoken of. It was a beautiful young lady, and she was holding a sign. She said, it's interesting how every woman knows a woman that has been molested or raped, but no man knows a rapist. And
wow,
it caused me to pause, because I had to stop and think, like, first off, how many men do I really talk to or know? But out of the men that I've talked to and out of the men that I know, how many of them has ever talked about forcing a woman into such an act of any sort? And I'm reminded that I have so few friends for a reason. Because there are certain things that I don't deal with, and I am a total admirer of women. I am happily married. That's not my issue. I can't give birth. I'm not strong like a woman. I am strong like a man, but a woman's strength is different. And a woman has raised, in 99% of our lives, us, whoever we are, male or female. Whether it's mama, auntie, cousin, granny, it's been a woman there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And very rarely do you find a real man strong enough to be a single father, or to be the uncle to step up and be the man in the nephew's life, or to be a friend of a young lady with no sexual intentions or tension between the two of you, and you are a father figure to her children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those men are few and far between, and we are rare, but we exist. But we don't talk about success. So if we're not talking about that success, it's mostly because we are, again, our brother and sister's keeper. But you're certainly not going to have the guy on the other side to talk about how he has forced a young lady into a situation, because honestly, they're probably very embarrassed, and they either regret what they have done, or they enjoy it so much that they understand that is their secret life, and that is the only place where they are not hurting, but they're doing it because they are hurt and don't even know it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's very good. You know, again, it's all about relationship. You know, and relationship, they're just so vast. You know, because they involve so many different people, places, and things. You know, and so that was good. I thank you for sharing that, because that's not something that is talked about. Actually, I've never heard that before. You know, um, and so that was good that you mentioned that, because that's extremely important. You know, we want to make sure that whatever it is that's on the inside of us, that we definitely work through that, that we definitely go through that. Robert, I thank you for joining the show. I know that you have to step away, but I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and I will make sure that I include your podcast information when I post this on YouTube, so this way everyone will know about, so that they will know about
Possibilities. Hosted by yours truly, Robert Gaines III. Again, Nicole, it is an absolute pleasure to be on Success in Motion. I don't know what I would do without such tutelage and training from you. I find you to be one of the most amazing women ever. You are truly a light in God's garden, and I am so thankful to have been wandering by and to have been pulled in by your anointing that He has placed on you. So as you are talking about successful relationships with friends and family, know that you are my sister. Not by blood, but definitely by spirit. And you can call on me anytime you need me, because you are family. And I thank you. Success in Motion, I'll see you at the next level.
All right, all right. So yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. You all, this has been this has been a joy to have each and every one of you on the show this evening. Again, talking about success in motion in relationships and being victorious and triumphant. And, you know, before we go, I just want to continue to play the song by We Are Victorious by Donnie McClurkin and Ty Tribbett. Yeah, just to carry us on out for the evening. So hold on just a moment so I can get it started. Woo! Yes. Woo! Yes. We are victorious, you all. Hey! Yes. Nothing can conquer us, because we are the conquerors, okay? Yes. Woo! Yes. Well, you all, I thank you for joining us for another segment of Success in Motion, where we discuss topics that will inspire, empower, and promote to catapult you to the next level in your life. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week. And for those of you who are watching via recording, there'll be more on next week, Wednesday. So I love you all. You have a good evening. Woo! Because you are truly victorious. You are triumphant, and you are truly success in motion. Mwah. Have a good night. Woo!